Welcome everybody to part 2. I thought I would just put that few-minute refresher in and continue from there. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to make the back of the book look like it was bound in an old style. And these are just some lollipop sticks. They're solid paper. And I'm just cutting them and I'll glue them on with wood glue. And this will be the basis for that. And then I have some strips of fabric here, and I'm just going to put those over it. And it's not fabric, it's actually fabric tape. And it will make it look like it has a kind of continuing system onto the other side that will give it some relief. And again, I'm just using wood glue for this portion. Now, this book actually originally had a kind of cheap velvet cover on it that I stripped off, and it left a very rough surface of, it almost looked like rubber cement. And it was one of those books that you can store things in and put in the bookshelf, but it was very cheesy looking. So what I'm doing now is I'm using bookbinding glue, which is a PVA glue with an acid balance, but also it stays flexible and it's very sticky. I'm covering it twice, actually. The first time I'm covering it, I'll let it dry a little bit. And now I'm going to put a leather cover on it that I've already pre-measured. And this is actually chamois, which is a form of leather. It's very inexpensive. And I had a big piece of it, I don't know, I had it for years. And I thought, well, I'll use this and see how it works. So I'm just trimming it and cutting it off here and there, and then I will stretch it over the panels of the book. And this part is, you can see it almost looks like cardboard, and it is. Not very expensive materials. There isn't any wood in this. It's all some kind of a particle board that it's made out of. And I'm just putting the first layer on and trimming it. And I have one of these tools. It's a bone tool that is used for a lot of things, but in bookbinding it's used quite frequently. And I'll just go around and press all the seams down. It looks pretty white, but of course there's stains on it because it's been hanging around for a while. And now I'm just working on Otto again. I have to make a hat for him. And there you saw me start that. This part's dry. It's taking some acrylic paint and going over the whole thing. And I'll have to paint this several times. This is, of course, just the first coat. But you can see where the relief, where I put the tape, and the cut-up popsicle sticks across the spine. And I'm just finishing the hat. I'm sewing it around. I'm making it out of the chamois as well, just this little piece of it. I painted it. And I wanted to make the hat so it would actually fit Otto. And I'm going to put a little trim around the edge of it. But it will be in his hand when I place him in the book box. And I'm just using apple barrel paint, which is very inexpensive. But Plaid makes it, and Plaid is a pretty big paint company. It may be inexpensive, but it's actually, I found it to be very good paint. And I'm just putting some decorative trim around his hat. I work on several things at the same time, so if you see all this other stuff laying around, that's why. Now I'm doing this other side, and I will be filling in that blank spot with more chamois, even though I'm painting it. I'm just trying to make it a little more waterproof on the cardboard inside. I'm just going around the edges and putting the second coat on now. Sorry if you hear some noise in the background. My husband is putting clothes away while I'm in this room talking, so you might hear clicks and things like that. Just using a little bit of gold paint around it, actually a chrome marker, gold chrome marker, and touching it up. Keep touching it up. I'll be touching it up throughout. I'm putting on a first coating of just regular metallic paint, gold, around the places that look like the pages. And this doesn't give good coverage, but it'll give me a little bit more tooth around the edges. Now I'm making a little template, and I'm going to cut out some more chamois in that exact size so that when I put the title page in, it will lay flat. And I'm just cutting it out of the same chamois, leaving a little extra around the edge. And trimming it right to the edge so that it'll be able to close properly. Using that same bookbinding glue, you just put a generous amount on, and then you can stretch the fabric or leather or whatever you use, and it will tighten up as it dries. And I'm just going in, I'm just making sure there's no edges that stick out. This is a piece of cardstock that will go over it. But first I'm putting out some cotton, very tightly woven cotton fabric on to make sure that the book stays so it doesn't, the cover doesn't come off. And then this will be painted. You won't see that when it's all painted. And the bookbinding glue again. I speeded this up 12 times, so this is very fast. Another coat of the gold paint. By the way, if you ever use this metallic paint and you use a brush or some of the test paints and you forget and your brush dries out, if you use a natural bristle brush, you can clean that paint off very easily with nail polish remover, which is just acetone, and then wash it right away in soapy water. However, this won't work on a synthetic brush. Okay, this is a little break. Now I'm going to cut out the title page, and I have to measure it, make sure it's the right size. And that will take me a few minutes. And now I'm touching up again. You'll see me touching up and painting continuously throughout this. And this will have to have several coats of paint as well on the inside. Let it dry in between coats. And that looks like about the right size. I also took this downstairs and I sprayed it with matte varnish on both sides so that it wouldn't bleed, because this came out of the printer. And I just put that bookbinding glue on again, and I'm smoothing it out, making sure the edges are all closed up. And now I'm going to trim it. Putting decorative trim around this whole book on the inside. It'll clean it up and make it look extra fancy. I'm using materials that I already have. Some of these things I've had for years, especially these trims. And I just wanted to use them up. I like to do that. It's a challenge to use what you already have instead of running out and buying more stuff. And I'm using super glue to tape this down. I glue it down. Putting another trim around the gold part. And I painted it gold because this trim is just slightly smaller. That way you won't really see the edge. And I'm using super glue again. And this is a more metallic kind of, it's almost like seam binding. It comes on the same kind of cardboard thing that you get seam binding in. It's probably from the 1960s. And now I'm using some more trim around the bottom, which is just metallic trim. And it's gold. And any edges that aren't cleaned up will not show. I also used that gold chrome marker around where the whole thing, where the book pages, are supposed to be. Now, I'm going to take a drawing by Howard Pyle, and this is actually not from the book. This is just a painting, or not a painting. It's probably a wood block or an etching or something. I'm not sure what it was originally, but I'm coloring it with colored pencils, and this actually took quite a long time to do. And I'll use a blending stick to smooth it out here and there. But because this does fit the story, because in the end, when Otto grows up, he becomes a knight, and he also inherits his father's title. And although he has one silver hand, he's still a warrior. So this is sort of representing him. Same artist, though. And he's on a charger, and he's in a sword battle with somebody else behind him, and there's a castle in the background. It's a little hard to see in black and white. And I'm still painting the charger's drapery. Not painting, but coloring. It's kind of like a coloring book. But I do some extra things to this, so it's a little more advanced than that. And now I'm doing his plumage off of his helmet. And the man that he's fighting with in the background has a green cape, and his charger has a lavender-colored drapery around him. And this is going to be on the book cover when I'm finished. And I'm using Prismacolor Ink Intense pencils. And they are water soluble, but their colors are very bright. And I do use these to actually repaint my dolls. I'll use actually these colored pencils rather than paint in most cases. And I'm using some golden paint here, just some silver to go in around his armor and a few other places, and his silver hand. Now I'm using a silver marker to put his silver hand on. He'll be holding a sword, and you can see the reflection of it from the light. This is the cover, the beginnings of it. And I also printed off, this is from an old book, an actual book of Otto of the Silver Hand, and I reconfigured it, and now I'm just painting around it. I wanted to put something from one of the old books on the spine. These images were in black and white, and then now I'm just making them my own by coloring them. But these aren't finished yet. And I also, the relief on both sides, the back and the front, I put some silver to make it look like it was buckled on the covers. And that's almost done. That top part on the binding. I goofed up and got some glue on the back. So I'm just going around and wiping it off. Now I varnished that picture and then put a silver border around it. Now I'm trying to figure out how to put these figures in, and that will be the next thing after I finish the cover. I still have some more to do on the cover, the front cover. There's some more stickers I'm going to put on it. Not stickers, but things I'm going to stick onto it. The outside, I have to put the silver hand on, and this is the same as what's on the spine. And then I'm going around and enhancing the design. I'll put some more things on it and some paint, more paint. And these are just those little fingernail jewels that I've talked about before. They look like little metallic bordered jewels. And they do stick on their own, but I put super glue on just to make sure that they stay put. I will be putting this in a bookshelf later, so that's why I want them to stick and not just peel off. Okay, that's done. Pretty much there. Now it's done. Well, we're coming to the close. This is the finished cover, completely finished. All the touch-ups are done. This took me a long time to make. I think I've been working on it for about 3 months or more. But I enjoyed it very much, and I learned a lot. I did make some mistakes, which I learned from, and I'm getting better at this. So the next one hopefully will be much better. I'm not going to tell you the mistakes I made. You'll have to figure that out yourself. Well, here's Otto and the very final statement of the book. And you could stop this anywhere and read it for yourself, like right here, if you stop it. And if you read that, then you know a little bit about the book. I would highly recommend reading it. Although it was written for children, it is at a very high reading level. And I think any adult would enjoy it. And you can get it on Amazon. You can even listen to it for free here on YouTube. I'm just turning it here and there so that you can see the 3D element involved in this. And I put a freeze frame in every so often so you can just look at it. Well, there it is. I'm going to put this in a bookshelf downstairs and put it right next to The Tale of Mr. Todd, which was the first book box I did on this channel. And here's some more pictures. From a bit of a different angle and with a little bit different lighting. And there he is kissing her hand. That's the best angle to look at this. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye-bye.